We're here today to discuss with you a few key issues that we've come across in common. To my right is Terry Frazier, an RN and owner of a health food store. My name is Therese George. I teach biology, chemistry, and anatomy. My field of expertise is environmental biology. And this is Philip Disparte, an ecologist from Puerto Rico. We've all experienced some very disturbing observations about the decline of wildlife in this area. And when we finally got together and compared notes, we were able to discern the probable cause and pursue a possible solution. I'd like first for each of us to go through and explain to you what our observations were, what was concerning us, and what we found. Philip, what did you find?
Well, for many years I've been coming to this area, the lower Colorado River, to observe the wildlife and birds in particular. This area did have more birds in terms of species and numbers than anywhere in the western United States. And on the Ketchum Indian Reservation, on the east side is the Colorado River, and on the north the All-American Canal, and dense brush, almost jungle-like. It doesn't even look like a desert along the river, and incredible density of birds and animals. And for the last 3 years I've been using remote cameras to study the wildlife in these areas. And I have cameras out in the field all the time, day and night, up to 5 cameras. And 3 months ago, I noticed that just precipitously, the animals just vanished, just overnight. They were there one day, and they weren't there the next. I immediately called the Fish and Game Department at the tribe here, and 20 people were out looking for animals, tracks, any sign of wildlife, and we couldn't find anything. No tracks, we couldn't find any hawks, any owls. It seemed that anything that ate or was attracted to meat had just vanished. And nothing showed up on my cameras for weeks. Just rats, and eventually some raccoons showed up. And that's pretty much the same situation now. I haven't had cameras out for the last few weeks because I've been in town, but we haven't seen any foxes, coyotes, bobcats. But what's really striking and very obvious to anybody in the area, there's just no hawks, and there was a large population, many different types of hawks. They're just gone. The owls, the hawks, most of the roadrunners, even snakes are just gone.
And you found residual of pesticide usage?
Well, I had no idea what caused this. Immediately when the Fish and Game people came in from other parts of the state, they suggested the farmers, and this really amazed me, they suggested the farmers were killing all the larger animals simply because they did not want their footprints near the fields because of a salmonella scare. At that time they were growing lettuce, and a footprint or droppings of any type of wild animal near these fields would bring down the price of the lettuce. And farmers and growers are very competitive, okay? And there's a farm report on every morning where they rate the quality of the field. All the fields that are rated in the area are rated as to quality, and so this is a competition between farmers. And the first thing the Fish and Game guys told me, it's just absolutely bogus, is these animals aren't spreading the salmonella. If the farmers were really worried about salmonella, they wouldn't be putting, thousands of tons of chicken manure on these same fields. And they also said the reason that the farm workers are bundled up with masks and gloves and so on is not to protect the lettuce from salmonella contamination. but to protect the farmers for what's on the lettuce. The carbofuran pesticides and so on that might still be there before they're broken down. Toxic enough to put you right into a hospital. And so all this was a revelation to me.
Yeah, when I met Phil, this was 5 years ago. I took a survey of the arthropods. For the past 5 years, I've been surveying the arthropods in the alfalfa field behind our school. And behind me is a graph of how the arthropod population, especially after 2004, declines precipitously. It wasn't just honeybees, it was everything. And I've been noticing since I came to work here about 6 years ago that the people in this area are more ill than average. The animals seem to have neurological problems. I see a lot of partially paralyzed pets. I also have noticed, just as Phil had, a decline in the number of hawks, which I used to see a lot of, a decline in the number of quail, which I used to see a lot of, and a decline in all rodents. And as Phil was beginning to say, and along with the wardens, it's true, salmonella, the main threat of salmonella is not produce. It is used, I do believe, in my opinion, as a marketing control tool. To control the price, they will accuse a crop of having spread salmonella. But most salmonella cases are spread through meat and through chicken eggs. And salmonella that gets on produce can be washed off. As a matter of fact, we carry salmonella in our bodies most of the time. And animals are going to run through fields around here all the time because it's very, very flat. There's another video on YouTube that describes this area in a little more detail. It's called Terrorism from Within. And if you want to know what the area looks like, you can go to that one. But I saw how it was affecting the health in this area. Diabetes, every family here, there's either someone in the family or a close relative that has diabetes. Thyroid cancer is very high here, and child leukemia is very high here. Thyroid cancer and child leukemia are almost exclusively environmentally caused. And diabetes, they have in recent years said, is not necessarily a genetic disease. It's not even necessarily pathogenic. It's usually an autoimmune disease, and it is closely related with heavy metal poisoning, whether it's depleted uranium or the metals in pesticides. And I believe Terry Fraser can tell you a little more about what she's experienced in the field workers that are exposed to those pesticides.